This is Sapphire with the Connect Show on Woo World Radio. Here I am at the Soho Film Festival, and I am with a very important man for Lucky Numbers. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, I'm Michael Kukalo. I'm the writer-producer of Lucky Number.
So, as the writer-producer, you gave a story when you were telling the when you were answering the question-answering part about how you actually knew someone, and that's how you came to end up writing this story. Could you give a brief description?
Sure. A good friend of mine from a past career prior to getting into writing and producing, took them out to play golf one day, talked about a little bit of business. We were having drinks, just discussing future business, and halfway through that, my friend turned to his younger brother who had just started in the business, said, "Hey, tell Kook," my last name is Kukalo, so everybody calls me Kook, so tell Kook about A-Rod's phone. So he proceeds to show me text messages that he got that were female propositions and all sorts of crazy things, but also invites to high-end events. So he would text back pretending to be A-Rod and say, "Hey, I can't make it," when the invites would come in. "I can't make it. Do me a favor, put my boy Brett V +2 on the list. I'll owe you one." And that worked more often than not, and here we are today. Lucky Number.
With an entire movie. So what made you get into writing and producing? Because you said that you had been in the corporate world before.
Well, I was an athlete when I was younger, and I played 3 sports and was pretty good at all of them. So it was really, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm melting over here.
It's okay, I understand.
It was kind of my focus, and when I was a kid, I wanted to play the guitar, and my parents had no time for that. You're an athlete. And when I was in college, I wanted to be a theater major, and they weren't so supportive of that idea. So, I kept kind of wanting to pursue it, but the time was never right. And when I hit 34 years old, I said, whoa, I'm running out of time. If I'm really going to do this one day, now is the time. And I just kind of started, I taught myself how to write for the most part through books, and audited some classes at NYU, and just kept getting more and more serious about it at 36, I knew I was going to take the big leap of faith one day. I knew I wasn't ready, but that's why my production company is called 36 Films, because I was told by many people in quote-unquote Hollywood that I was too old and that the opportunity had passed me by. So that was my little jersey to Hollywood, that I can do this, I will do this, and someday you're going to have to deal with me, and I'm coming. So, that's the origins of Lucky Number and 36 Films.
So how did you come about the casting? Because it seems like it kind of worked out where the cast members, for the most part, really got along and had a good time, made it in the film, even though, no, you're fine, you're wonderful.
Dripping the glowing.
Yeah, that's what it is. You're not sweating, you're sparkling. So...
all that's going to do is make you hot.
So how was it that you came, to getting the casting?
By the way, there's no air conditioning.
And that is not our fault. That is the fault of Soho Films, by the way.
What was your question again? I'm sorry, Sapphire.
The casting.
The casting. Well, we had Eve Battaglia was our casting director. She did a great job. David Cornu and I think we wrote a pretty good script, and we're pretty clear with who we were looking for with our characters. Joey Russo, who played Paz, actually went to my high school, Seton Hall Prep in West Orange, New Jersey. Yeah, boy. So Joey was always on my radar from the time I got into the business, and it just turned out literally Joey was the man. It just, not only did he go to my high school, was he a good kid, but he just nailed it. And then, as I said during the Q&A, Tom was literally, he fell into our lap. We had reached out to, Tom wasn't even on our radar, and we had reached out, tried to get a cast through a couple of people, and it didn't happen. And Dion said, "Hey, I know this guy Tom Pelfrey, just did a great movie with him. He's a great guy, he's professional." And he said he's from Jersey, so I'm a Jersey guy. I said, I got to meet Tom. And Tom and I met for breakfast, brunch at the Broadway Diner on 57th Street and 57th and 7th. And we hit it off. He read the script the night before. He loved the script. and we had the whole Jersey thing in common. And I said, hey, you're my guy, let's do it. And he showed up the next day. He cut his hair because he had long hair at the time, which was really appreciated. And the day after, because that was President's Day, so he came in to get a haircut. We couldn't even really do any rehearsing or anything, and we started the next day, and he killed it.
Whose idea was it to put Method Man as the basketball player?
That was Method Man had worked with our casting director in the past, Eve, and she said, how about Method Man? Immediately we were like, wow, that's great, because not only is Method Man, which is really awesome, but Method Man's 6'4", so it's really sellable. To whereas if you have, some other actors who are trying to play professional basketball player, it's a tough sell. You got to put them on soapboxes and angle up, but and Tom is pushing 6'2" himself, so it really worked out well that Meth was so tall and Tom was tall, and Meth was great, man. He was a blast. He was not only a pro and showed up every day ready to rock, but he was just very fun to have around, and we shot him out, and I think it was 7 days out of the 19 or 21, whatever it was that we shot. We shot him out in 7 days because we knew we had a lot of other stuff to do. But the days that he worked were long and hard, and he killed it for us. He really did. Thanks, Meth. You're the man.
So what do you have coming up, or what are you working on now?
Most importantly, what's got me most psyched is I just optioned the book, and you might see him floating around the after party. I'd love to get him on to chat with you guys. His name is Gary Hayward, and he's the most corrupt prison guard in the history of New York, the New York penal system. Gary was the godfather of Rikers Island. He had that shit locked down, selling weed, selling coke, prepaid cell phones, and then he organized and pimped out the female prison guards. The name of the book is Corruption Officer. It's been all over the news. It was on the front cover of the Daily News a couple weeks back. Gary's a great guy. He's the African-American Walter White, a really good guy who got into some bad stuff because he was trying to provide for his family, and he got himself into a little more trouble. But you got to get the book. It's called Corruption Officer. He was the godfather of Rikers for 8 years. He got clipped, spent 2 years in prison where he had his come to Jesus moment. He wrote his book. Now he's a janitor in the New York public housing projects, and we just optioned the book, and we're gonna blow this shit up. Corruption Officer. It's gonna be the real deal.
So you optioned the book. Are you going to turn that into a film as well, possibly?
Right now, we're considering turning it into either a feature or a TV series because, like I said, he is the African-American Walter White. So if we turn it into a script, I'm going to write the script. If it's a TV series, we're going to go out and find some folks who got a little bit more experience in the TV space because I've never really beat out a couple seasons of a TV series yet. But we're going to try to make that decision here in the next couple weeks. How we want to move forward. So we got a bunch of people reading the book and talking to some other producers who we're going to partner with, and we should know. My goal is by like July to have everything locked down and be moving full steam ahead with either getting a pilot produced or getting a feature financed and rocking and rolling while I'm writing the script.
I think that's kind of cool how most of your projects are based on actual stories.
Yeah, look, I've always, just as a viewer, again, was never really allowed to pursue anything in this business because I was an athlete, but I always just enjoyed films. Whatever reason, it just kind of meant something else to me. Meant a little bit more to me, I should say, that it was based on a true story. So I've optioned another book that's called No Paved Road to Freedom, which is also a true story that's like Breaking Bad meets Shawshank Redemption. It's a true story of a guy named Cornel Delano who escaped communist Romania at the end of World War II. If you liked Unbroken, this is right up there. You're going to love it. I'm writing that script as we speak now.
Wow, so
that's a much bigger movie. I'm going to need a studio, so if anybody's out there, give me a shout.
You heard it here first. So, what advice would you give to anyone who possibly wanted to get into writing? Because it seems like your road isn't one that's normally taken.
No.
Right. So what would you say for people? Because it's kind of like you've got this real I touched my dream moment. So, like, how would you put that into a brief summary?
Wipe the sweat off my forehead first, but thank you. Yeah, right? So, I just actually sang. I tried to sing on camera. That's awful. My advice is, there's a lot of haters out there, plain and simple, and they're going to tell you that you can't do it. You can't. You're too this. You're too that. You're too big. You're too small. You're too old. Screw them all, man. If you feel it and you think you can do it, go for it, and just don't stop, because it's really, really hard. And this has been the most. And I was a pretty good athlete, and I competed at a reasonably high level in sports, but this was by far the most challenging, emotionally, physical, mentally challenging thing I've ever done. And the truth was, about 6, 7, 8 months ago, I was really low, and it was just beating me up. And I picked up No Paved Road to Freedom, the book that I optioned, and it changed my life. I read it in 4 sittings, 170 pages my first day. And that just because with Cornell, how he got out of communist Romania, and we think in this modern era you just walk across a border. No, you don't. I mean, it was crazy, and it changed my life, because I just said, if he can do this, I can do what I'm trying to do, and nobody's gonna stop me. And I got this great little movie, and it's gonna be my launching pad, and game on. And I think, as everybody kind of just saw in there, this little movie that we made is gonna make a little bit of noise. It's a pretty cool little flick. I'm pretty proud of it, and I got the greatest cast and crew, and we killed it. We killed it.
You did. How can we find you on social media?
Seeing as I'm an old man, I'm really not on social media. You can go to I'm on Facebook. It's Michael Cuccolo, Cuccolo. 36films.com is my website. You can go and fill out. We just launched a new website. Thank you, Jason King. Yeah, and you can go and fill out some information and connect with me. And one of these days, I'll get up to. I don't trust myself on Twitter, so I'll get somewhere somehow. Or someday, if I ever have a manager, I'll have them handle that for me.
Yeah, so you don't piss anybody off.
Yeah, I just I'm a loud Jersey guy I'm a loud Italian guy from New Jersey, so it's best if I say less. Less is more.
Gotta love it. Well, thank you for visiting with us.
Sorry, I'm sweating all over you back here.
I'm fine. I'm Sapphire from The Connection on Woo World Radio. Go see Lucky Numbers.